Someone's watching me. Hello, so today's video is just going to be a little fitness gym related question and answer video, which I've never actually done before. But on Instagram I get a lot of the same questions asked over and over and over again, which are to do with the gym or fitness related, and also I've been getting a few video requests on a few little topics which to me it wouldn't make sense to do a full video on, so I thought I'll just do a little fitness based Q&A and try and help people. I did ask for these questions to be like as generic as possible, just so that the answers that I give can be helpful to a wider group of people. But if you do have any individual specific questions, then you can always message them to me on Instagram, and I do reply. I go through my DMs every single day, so I do reply to everyone who is asking me questions. And also next month I am actually starting my online coaching. Yay! Message me on Instagram if you are interested and send me over your email address, because I'm gonna do all my online coaching inquiries via email, just because I don't want them to get caught up with my DMs and stuff, because it gets quite busy in the DMs. I have mentioned I'm only going to be taking on a few people, just because I want to make sure that I am giving the best quality of service possible and getting people really good results. And because of other commitments like uni, I do have to actually think about what I'm posting on social media and stuff now as well. I don't want to take on too many people and just give a mediocre service. I'd rather take on fewer people and give them a better service. But obviously when uni is done over summer and stuff, I will be looking to increase the number of people that I'm working with. So message me on Instagram if you're interested. But that's my self-promo done, and I'm just going to get on with the questions. So one of the questions I get asked a lot is to do with macros and calories. People wanting to know how to accurately calculate their macros. How do they know how many calories they need? For me personally, how I do it is I use online calculators. If you type in calorie calculator, macro calculator, loads of different ones will come up, and what I find is they always give roughly the same answer. They are only ever going to be a best guess estimate sort of thing. So for example, at the start of this bulk I put in my information and stuff. I wanted to work out how many calories I needed to be eating to be in a calorie surplus to begin my bulk, and I think it came out with like 2,300 to 2,400 calories. So what I did was I went from 1,800 and I just increased adding 100 on, and monitoring my weight, monitoring my how I felt, how I looked in the mirror and stuff like that. And what I actually realised was I ended up getting up to 2,500 calories and my weight still hadn't changed. I then continued to monitor my weight and stuff, and I'm now on about 2,800 calories and I am gaining weight. So that just shows that the calculators will not always be 100% accurate. They are just a best guess. So my advice when it comes to how to accurately work out your calories, macros, is use the online calculators as a starting point, as a best guess, and then monitor whichever way you want to go. So if it tells you you need to eat X amount of calories to lose fat, to be in a calorie deficit, then take those calories, try them out and monitor your weight and see how accurate that is for you. Normally it is pretty accurate. I know that my cutting calories and stuff have always been accurate when I've put them into a calculator, but because I do have a very fast metabolism, the gaining calories always seem to be higher than what the calculator actually shows. Another person wants to know, should you be sore after every workout? I get asked this a lot. No is the short answer. You should not be sore after every workout. Actually, if you're getting sore after every workout, I would maybe look at what you're actually doing in your training, because the issue with being sore after every workout is you probably won't be training to the best of your ability in your following sessions because you're still sore from before. Being sore is actually not an indicator of muscle growth and stuff. Obviously, if you are starting a new program or you're new to the gym, you probably are going to experience more DOMs than if you've been training a little bit longer. but being sore is absolutely not necessary, especially not after every single workout. Do you find it difficult to fully commit to a bulk when seeing your body fat increase? 100%. I find it really quite difficult. I just know that I'm working long term and I'm thinking long term, not short term. So in the short term, is it going to be a little bit uncomfortable for me? Yes, but in the long term, it's going to be so much better. You've got to get comfortable being uncomfortable, as cliche as it sounds. But I do struggle with it, but you've just got to think long term instead of short term. Yes. How do you set up your workouts? Which exercises you pick and order? So the exercises I pick will depend on what body part I am training, what I'm trying to target the most. But when it comes to setting up the workouts, which exercise order, you always want to make sure that anything that's going to take the most energy, do that first. There's no point in doing a bunch of cable pull-throughs, cable kickbacks, all these like isolation kind of movements, and then go into your compounds, because you're not going to be able to perform as well. And yeah, so keep your compounds at the beginning of your workout and your isolation work should come after. Sorry if the angles just changed. My camera started saying I had no memory card in, which I do, so I've just had to fix that. How has the gym benefited your mental health? If it has, it's benefited my mental health a lot, especially over the past year. I've not mentioned this before because it's not something I ever wish to make a focus of my channel, but I do actually have anxiety, like diagnosed by a doctor, anxiety disorder, and it's just helped so much. I remember when it was at its worst, I was struggling to even go to the gym because I was waking up every single morning just feeling really sick, and I just didn't even want to get out of bed. But as soon as I actually went to the gym, it just made me feel so much better. So it has 100% helped with mine. Advice on feeling hip thrust in your glutes over your hamstrings. The chances are, if you're feeling hip thrust in your hamstrings, your legs are too far away. So instead of your legs being like this when you're at the top, diagrams with Amy, instead of your legs being like that when you're at the top, your legs are probably like that. So try moving your feet closer to your body. Feel it a lot more in your glutes over your hamstrings. How long have I been going to the gym? I've had a gym membership since I was in year 10, and I am now meant to be in my 3rd year of uni. So 1, 2, 3, 4, about 7 years I've had a gym membership for, but I did not take it seriously back then. I've been properly training for like nearly 3 years now, I think, and I definitely say I've learned a lot over the past like year. Like the past year has probably been the most significant year in terms of progress, in terms of knowledge about what I'm actually doing, and yeah. So I've been training properly for about 3 years now. A lot of people have asked me for advice on how to structure a workout routine and stuff. I have done a whole video on that, so I'm going to leave that linked down below. But how long did it take you to start seeing results? I would say I started seeing results even when I wasn't training properly. Like, I know I wasn't really doing what I should have been doing, but because I was so new to the gym, I could have literally been doing anything and I still would have seen results. I'd probably say it took about 3 months to see some pretty decent results, but like I say, I wasn't really training properly, and I do think I could have definitely made more of my newbie gains phase than what I did. But how to get back on track with fitness / diet after being ill. I'm not a doctor, so I can't say. It depends on the illness. If it's a proper, I mean, if it's just a cold, go by how you feel. If you feel like you're ready to get back into it, then ease yourself back into it. If it's a more serious illness, then maybe speak to your doctor about it. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not gonna advise you on that. Do you try to progressively overload every week or generally use the same weight? No, I do try to progressively overload where I can. I'm not beating myself up if I can't do it every week, because especially when you've been training for longer, the progress both physically and performance wise does come a little bit slower. So I'm not beating myself up So I'm not beating myself up if I can't progressively overload every week, but I do try and push myself in every session. What I will usually do is I'll use the weight that I used the week before and then go with how I feel from there. If I feel like I can do more, then I will push myself to do more. Sometimes it's not, sometimes it is weekly, sometimes it's not, it just depends. So I've had some questions about cardio, like do I do cardio? And another question said, is cardio bad for gains, HIIT or LISS training? So that's high intensity interval training or low intensity steady state. So do I do cardio? For me personally, no. If I put a cardio session in the gym into my plan, I won't do it. And personally for me at the moment, because I am bulking, because I do have such a fast metabolism, I struggle to eat 2,800 calories. So if I'm doing cardio, I'm literally just digging myself a deeper hole to have to eat more food, and I just have no desire to do that because I struggle to eat 2,800 calories as it is. But I do try and stay active. I do try and hit as many steps as I can throughout the day. That's how I prefer to get my like cardio in. Not the biggest fan of like machine and gym based cardio. It's just not my cup of tea. I'd rather go for like a long walk outside. And then is cardio bad for gains? No, at the end of the day it comes down to energy expenditure, so energy in, energy out. If you want to gain weight, then you need to be eating more than what you're burning in a day. If you want to lose weight, you need to be eating less than what you're burning, than what you're using in a day. So no, it's not inherently bad for gains. It can make it harder if you struggle to eat enough as it is. Yeah, it's not like you jump on a cardio machine and all your muscle burns away. That's not it. It all comes down to energy expenditure at the end of the day. And then another question was HIIT or LISS cardio. If you're referring to which one is better for fat loss, there is a really good, well put together whole video on that, which I will put in the description box below. It's by Shredded Sports Science. If you're not subscribed to him and you want to learn more about the gym, he does like some funny videos as well. He does a very good job at communicating what the research says into understandable terms and actually communicating it well and looking at it holistically rather than just looking at like one study and what one study says. So I'm going to leave that video linked and you can watch that because it goes into in-depth and it's far better than I could explain. Do you take creatine as a supplement? Yes, I do. I've started taking it for the past year and I can say that it has genuinely helped with my performance. With that being said, whilst we're on the topic of supplements, a lot of questions I get asked are about, is this supplement useful? Is this supplement good? Is this worth it? Blah, blah, blah. I'm going to leave a website linked in the description box. I think it's called examine.com, which I was shown, which I think you can put any kind of thing in on there and search it, but it's really good for supplements. So if you search the name of the supplement that you're interested in, it will come up with how much research there has been on that supplement and also what the research actually shows and how strong the indications are that it actually makes a difference and that it actually works. If you look up things like BCAAs, you will see that the argument for them is not very strong. Someone has asked for tips on bloating. You need to establish whether you are bloated or whether your stomach is just full at the end of the day, which is completely normal. As soon as you eat food, your stomach isn't going to look as flat anymore. It is going to look fuller. A bloat is something that's painful and uncomfortable. If you are having that, go to the doctors because you may have an intolerance, you may have other issues going on. It could be something like IBS, which you can get help for, but you need to first of all work out whether you are bloated or if you're just full of food, which is completely normal. What are your favourite exercises for the glutes? So hip thrusts, any kind of hip thrust, standard hip thrust, B stands hip thrusts, banded hip thrusts. I could hip thrust my life away. I literally love hip thrusts. I also like sumo deadlifts. I also really like the leg press. I get a really good connection in my glutes when I use the leg press. And split squats. Cable pull throughs are good too. They would be my favourite glute exercises. How to get a smaller waist, in brackets lose belly fat. So the way that you lose belly fat is, or lose any body fat, is by creating a calorie deficit, which is basically just eating less than what your body uses in a day. like I said at the start about macros and calories and stuff and those kind of calculators, use those as your starting point and go from there would be my recommendations. But because you have said how to get a smaller waist, in brackets leaves belly fat, I do just want to say that where you lose fat from easiest, where fat comes off your body the quickest, does that even make sense? I don't know. Will depend on genetics and stuff like that, and where your body naturally stores fat easier, where it wants to hold on to the fat more, because everyone is different. I typically, like, I'm bulking at the moment, and the last place where I'm starting to gain some fat now, which is what's making me quite uncomfortable, is my stomach area, and it's also the first to go when I do start reducing my calories. Please do not do stupidly low calories in an attempt to just get rid of the fat really quickly, because all that's going to happen is that's not going to be a sustainable way of eating. You're not going to stick to it, and you will end up being disappointed in the long run with your results. Truly is like slow and steady wins the race when it comes to stuff like this, because it needs to be sustainable, it needs to be enjoyable, and it needs to be something that you can stick to for a long period of time, because depending on how much fat you want to lose, it can take a while to lose it. You know, you don't gain X amount of weight overnight, just like you won't lose X amount of weight overnight. So yeah, calorie deficit, stick to it, be sustainable and be sensible with it. So yeah, that's all the questions I'm going to answer, because otherwise this video is going to be way too long. If you enjoyed this video, then give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, follow me on Instagram so that next time I do one of these, if you want me to do another one, let me know. If you follow me on Instagram, then you will know when I've posted a story to take questions and stuff for videos like this, because that's where I tend to do it. I also just want to say really quickly at the end of this video, thank you to anyone who used my code with Alphalete at the weekend. I was not expecting as many people to use it as did, and the amount of people that used it might not be a lot to some people, but to me that's a lot, and it means a lot that people trust my opinions, people trust my reviews, and that just people want to support me. Like, I just think it's so nice that people actually used it. Like, you weren't getting anything out of it other than supporting me, and I just think that's a really nice thing to do. So thank you to anyone who used it, and yeah, any video suggestions, let me know. See you later.